Now, people's hearts are just broken in Northwest Atlanta, and Atlanta police are trying to figure out who shot and killed a teenager earlier this morning.
Atlanta News First reporter Rebecca Schramm is live on the scene on Cato Street, just off of Hollywood Road. And Rebecca, you've spoken with the victim's mother.
I did, Rick and Lana. Good afternoon to you. She lives within walking distance of where I'm standing. I want to show you because investigators spent several hours in and near that walking path there. They were speaking with people who heard the gunfire and called 911. When the mother and I spoke, it was starting to sink in that her son is gone. She grew more distraught as we talked, and she declined to do an on-camera interview. She did tell me this is not the first tragedy her family has dealt with. The call of a person shot came at about 4:30 a.m., according to police. When officers arrived on Cato Street in Atlanta's Grove Park neighborhood, they found a young man dead. At the scene, we watched as crime scene investigators focused much of their attention on the side of the residential street. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office later confirmed the victim was 16-year-old Jakari Brooks. I later spoke off camera with the victim's mother. She tells me she gave her son the middle name Rayshard, naming him after his uncle, the same Rayshard Brooks who was shot and killed by an Atlanta police officer in 2020 in a Wendy's parking lot. That death added to a summer of unrest in Atlanta. And now 4 years later, the family is coping with another death, this time the murder of a teenager. And the family told police they think the shooting may have stemmed from a dispute over a stolen scooter. We'll let you know if police announce an arrest. Live in Northwest Atlanta, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.